We're testing this out, guys, so bear with me. I'm trying a new thing here. I'm trying to use Streamlabs for the stream now, so we'll see how this actually works. I don't know if you guys can hear me, if everything's actually functioning properly. Please let me know. But this is kind of one of those impromptu ones to where I'm kind of like trying to figure everything out, trying to get everything kind of situated, and hopefully everything's
We're testing this out, guys, so
anyway, with me. I'm trying a new
that's
thing
how
here.
this do. So
I'm trying to
let's
use
see what we have going on here.
Okay. I got this going on. I got that going on. So we'll see what's what. Anyway, yeah, impromptu. I wasn't really going to do a live stream today. I was more kind of planning on doing something in the future, but it's been a really long week. For those that kind of follow me on social media, you probably see me travel a lot and stuff like that. I've been going back and forth from my place to out towards Harrisburg and doing a lot of different things over the past week or so. So it's been pretty crazy. Anyway, I felt like doing a live stream for a couple different reasons. One, I could do whatever I want. So there you go. Actually, I put that down. Put that up here. Give it a minute until everybody actually kind of lines up and gets in here and stuff like that. We'll chug a beer real quick, and then we'll see what's what. So let me actually type in here. I can never type out the correct. I always put HTE. I don't know why. So there we go. So hopefully everything is actually functioning properly for you guys. If it isn't anywhere between, that is life. We'll see what's what. I'm going to check one more source, and then we'll actually get into me actually talking about random bullshit. Okay, so there's a picture of me. So here's the thing. Okay, so Sam Bolin kind of chimes in saying everything looks good, sounds good, which is encouraging. The issue I have with this, and I've been doing this, I'm doing this just because I want to have an alternative hopefully to Streamlabs, which I think is kind of poopy when it comes to doing stuff. So I figured I'd give this a whirl because the bulk of what I do, typically when I do these live streams, is I do like solo stuff. It's usually just me or have somebody else actually in here. I don't do a ton of stuff where I actually have people like on like as a guest. And so that I think this works a little bit better. I know it's Streamlab. I think with multi kind of streaming, getting a bunch of different people hanging out, that's a little bit better. But I figured I'd do this, see how this kind of plays. Hopefully for you guys. Let's see. Currently, it's giving me an error for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's streaming, but it's not streaming fantastically. Let's put it that way. Regardless, that is such as life. The only thing that annoys me about this, because when I actually sit here and actually look at the YouTube side of things, is there's definitely a kind of latency issue to where I'm actually seeing a bulk of what I'm saying. Like I usually kind of stare at the video, while at the same time I'm staring at the video, I actually look at the comments over here that's over in this section. I am getting like mad lag when it comes to using OBS, so that's something I'll have to figure out. But anyway, what I can... Ooh, I did not mean to do that. Okay. What I meant to do... Why is that doing that? Okay, anyway. Let's do this. I wonder if that's actually going to show up on the actual stream, me kind of dragging the thing off the screen. I'm kind of curious to see if that actually... It does, okay. Yeah, see, this is me trying to use new shit, so you guys get to see me doing all kinds of weird stuff. Anyway, so we'll go into this. So, first off, we're drinking a little Rothaus Pils, probably the best Pils of all time. Actually, go over into the comment section. You see even Justin is chiming in saying he loves that beer. It's tough to find. It is, like... super hard to find. I actually can never find it, but for some weirdo reason, this local little place by me has been getting it like kind of on a semi-regular, I guess you would say. So I've been kind of pumped that it's there. Hopefully it keeps coming, but it's kind of just the best crusher Pilsner in the history of mankind. That's good. I mean, look at that. Good God. You could kill ants with that fucker. How clear that is. Look at that. God. That's delicious. But yeah, for me, it's actually probably a little bit more aggressive than a typical Pilsner. It's 5.3%, so it's their kind of ABV-wise. This is, I'm assuming this is relatively fresh. It says it's good until January, February, March, April 20th, 420. So I'm actually best before, 425, 425 of 2020. It's good till, so I assume, I don't know what their actual, their dating on this is, but this is fantastic. A little bit more bittering. It's almost like, funny part is it kind of comes off to me as like a little bit more of like a hoppy Pilsner, like kind of an Americanized version of a Pilsner, because of how aggressive the kind of hops come off to me. So yeah. There you go. It's an absolutely fantastic beer. If you guys ever see this on the shelf, I implore you to pick it up, especially if you want a nice kind of Pilsner chugger. It is definitely going to do you all kinds of proper. So anyway, so I've been traveling a lot, as I was talking about earlier, and it's a cool story. I'm going to be doing a live review of this sucker right here. This is a Deschutes Jubel Ale 2015. Now, I've reviewed this before. If you go back and watch my review of this beer, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I didn't go back and watch that review, but I'm pretty sure I might have said this. I know where I picked it up. My brother was living in close to Carlisle, outside of Harrisburg, and I was visiting him, and we got to go food, and I went to go pick it up. And this random little pizzeria had a bunch of different kinds of beers. It's kind of how Pennsylvania rolls when it comes to a lot of different beers. So I was like, okay. And I looked, and they had a bunch of different Deschutes stuff. And I was like, okay. And they had this one. I was like, okay, I got to pick this up. And I picked it up. And I came back, and I reviewed it. I believe I reviewed it with my buddy Brad. Might have been my buddy Joe. Anyway, we came back, and I reviewed it. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. I'm like, that's a great beer. I love this beer. It's absolutely fantastic. And I kind of was really pissed off that I didn't buy more. I was like, why didn't you buy more? You dumbass idiot. End of story. So, I don't get out to Harrisburg all that much. And my brother moved between when I was down there and this time. So I wasn't quite sure where this place was. I was like, it is what it is. So I've been in Harrisburg essentially all week, back and forth, going out there to visit family. And I'm staying out there at a hotel for a couple of nights, and went to a bunch of different breweries down there. But I also I stopped in one or two kind of bottle shops. So it's like, okay, this one, blah blah blah. So last night I'm there. I'm heading back to the hotel from having dinner with my wife and family, and kind of like, you know what? There's on the map. There's this place that says it has, kind of beer to go. I'm like, I'm just gonna pop in there. I walk in. I'm like, holy fuck. This is that place. This is the place where I got the Jubel. They still fucking had them. They're still sitting on the shelf from 2015. I picked this up in 2015 from the same place I picked these up. These have to be the same bottles. They have to be the same bottles from when I picked them up. And I was like, okay, that works for me. And the best part about it is that I think they were $4 or $5 cheaper. They were on discount because they've been sitting around shelf turning it up for fucking 5 years. So I was tickled pink. I was blown away. I'm I can't believe I randomly just stopped in the same place, because it was at night. I couldn't really even tell what was going on. So I was I couldn't recognize the place. So I walked in. The second I walked in, I was this is that place. They had two beers there that I when I walked in there the first time that I loved. They had a bunch of Fuller's vintage ales. And they had a bunch of these. And they didn't have any of Fuller's vintage. I would have bought a bunch of those. But, yeah, we're going to review the sucker. We'll give it a minute. We'll let a couple more people chime in. Actually, we'll do an unboxing first. We'll do the unboxing. I have a brewery unboxing. I don't really do brewery unboxings, but I figure I'm going to do a live video. Might as well do an unboxing while I'm actually doing it, because I got it today anyway. So that's what you guys get. You get an unboxing. You get me talking about Pilsner, and you get me talking about Harrisburg. Then we'll do a beer review. So let's crack into this sucker. This is a box of beer from Hop Butcher for the World. If you guys watch beer reviews, if you're a big beer tuber kind of viewer, you might have noticed that a lot of people have been doing Hop Butcher beers as of late. More specifically, a lot of the people that I kind of roll around with, whether it be Joe from the Beer Patrol, Kyle from No Hype Beer Reviews, Sean and Mike from Nerd Sense. Those guys specifically, they've been doing a lot of Hop Butcher beers. I've been getting a lot of Hop Butcher beers for a bit over a year now. Jeremiah and Jude from Hop Butcher are awesome dudes, and they've been sending stuff off periodically, pretty much about every month or so. And about a month or so ago, they kind of chimed in and said, hey, they're like, we kind of want to send some beers to some other people. Who would you suggest? So they asked me for a short list of people that I kind of dig when it comes to beer tubing. I kind of told them those guys' names. So they sent those guys off a bunch of different beers. And that was awesome to see those guys having fun and drinking those beers. Here we go. So go watch those guys. Go if you're not subscribed to all those guys. Like I said, Joe from the Beer Patrol, Kyle from the Hype Beer Reviews, and Nerd Sense guys. If you're not subscribed to them, go subscribe to them. Awesome people, just awesome people. Not even just beer talking people, just great people in general. Yeah, go see them. Go watch them. Go subscribe to them. Super good dudes. So anyway. So they sent me off pretty much the exact same stuff that they sent me off a little bit different stuff than what they sent them last time. That was probably about a month or so ago. I just posted those reviews, oddly enough, yesterday. This ended up coming today on a Sunday of all days. That's kind of a weird day to get a beer mail. I'm not going to complain. So we'll see what we got. What do we have here? This looks familiar. Fat Bear. I actually don't remember doing this. I thought it was going to be a different beer based off of Fat Bear. What is this? This is a peanut butter imperial stout brewed with chocolate. 10.5% alcohol by volume. Is it a collab? No, it's not. Listen. Okay, here's the deal. Hop Butcher for the World is one of my favorite breweries when it comes to hop fuckdoggery. The name kind of makes sense when they talk about doing, just Hop Butcher. It just kind of makes sense. And I love the weird shit they do with hops. They do pretty good, unique takes on a bunch of different stuff when it comes to kind of applying hops to even just like new school styles. Their Colombian Exposition Stout, whatever it was called, I'm butchering the name, might be the best coffee stout I've ever had in my life. So from when they throw these kind of rando stouts out, I am paying attention. So you will definitely see a beer review of these suckers. You'll see a beer review of all these. Rarely do I ever not review their stuff. The only time I don't review their stuff, or anybody brewery-wise who sends me stuff, is if there's doubles. Like I've already reviewed it. Like if it's been like 8 years and I haven't reviewed it, I'll re-review it. Kind of like I did Lagunitas IPA. I haven't had it in a while, so I did that one. But if someone sends me a beer they sent me 6 months ago, I'm just not going to do it. So, and I drink them. What else? Or my camera fucks up. Like there was one of the Hop Butcher beers that they sent they sent me 4 different ones, and one of them my camera fucked up. So that gets lost. Anyway, what do we have here? We have a Citra and Medusa. See, there you go. You don't see a ton of Medusa hop beers. Triple India Pale Ale, 10.5%. Okay. Very hard to win me over on these 10% beers. And it is brewed with agave. So I like that little twist. So you see there, it's kind of like a Picasso kind of viber, kind of artwork on there, stone front. All the artwork's always by a guy by the name of Dan Jetsa. That is probably not going to focus on there, but it's Jetsa. You can see it right there. GZ is Jetsa. Everybody butchers the name. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I like those labels. A little bit of departure what it typically does. So we'll see what's what. And there's one more 4-pack in here. So basically I got 3 beers. 3 different beers. Oh, this feels heavy like there's something else in here. It's awesome because they always send it to me in like big old like boxes they got hops in or something like that. So anyway, what do we have last but not least? Live from Chicago, it's a Simcoe Citra Galaxy and HBC 692 hopped India Pale Ale. This is actually a collab with Crushed by Giants Brewing Company. Never heard of those guys before. Is this a collab over here? No, the other one, the agave one, is not a collab. So Crushed by Giants. That actually sounds like a band name. Yeah, isn't that a band? Or is that something by Giants? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Little metal You know, middle hand's kind of flying up there. Got a sweet 4-pack of these, so it's always nice when you get the 4-pack, because my camera fucks up, just do it again. And I lie to you guys. I'm like, this is the first time I'm having this beer, and you never know, because I'm a good actor. How's that sound? No, I actually fucking tell you guys if my camera fucked up. You know that. Anyway, so there you go. Nice little beer mail. I got a beer mail. I got a couple beer mails. I got one from Hackabashore. That I didn't post. Like I said, I typically don't do when breweries send me beer mails. I don't do unboxings, but when I'm doing this, if it's somebody like Hot Butcher or whatever, I'm cool with doing it. I got a Hackabashore one come in. There's a Weiss beer. They Must Be Giants is the band name. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. Anyway, train of thought. Yeah, usually don't do the brewery ones, but you know, it is what it is. What else I got? Steven sent me off a beer mail. Steven from Connecticut Way. He sent me a bunch of mystery beers, which is very appreciative. Not that I don't have a ton of mystery beers. I think I have about maybe 6 at my computer where I do all my editing. I think I have maybe about 4 now in the can on my phone. Oddly enough, my phone I never stopped recording on my phone. I gotta do that now. Yeah, anyway, there you go. Look at that. It's like Inception. Kind of video and cameras. You guys can see what's going on. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah. I have a couple on my phone, so I have probably about a month's worth, because I do 2 every Monday. So I kind of needed them, so it was kind of cool to get those in. So yeah, pretty good stuff. And I think I have a couple. I got one from my buddy Anthony. He sent me a couple beers. One of the beers I reviewed right before I went live. I did a coffee pale ale from Backwards Flag Brewing. That shit was delicious. But yeah. Yeah, good stuff all around. Beer mail's coming in. It's been I went from having healthy week or healthy month to doing a bunch of beer reviews to having to travel pretty much almost every day. Like today is the first day that I'm going to wake up and go to sleep in my own bed without having to drive like 5 hours in like over a week. So it's kind of like one of those things where I was like, okay, I kind of want to do something, a live stream, drink some beers, hang out and stuff like that, because I really don't want to go out and about, and I don't want to kind of have a bunch of friends over or anything like that. So I figured, why not? So here we go. What else? We'll talk about some beer newsy stuff after this. Again, this is not like kind of like online bottle share stuff, but let's actually get to the impetus for this whole thing, which would be the Jubel. Okay, so this is Jubel, which is a beefed up, kind of messed with version of their Jubel Ale. Deschutes Jubel Ale is kind of like, it's a seasonal, but it's kind of like a beer that you can kind of get almost all year round. It's kind of like a winter warmer. And they basically took that recipe and they kind of beefed it up. They only did it once, I believe. They might have they did it 2010. And I believe they did it in 2015. I think they're going to do it again this year. If not, they did it last year. I don't remember. But it is ale. That's all they're writing there. Aged in 50% in Pinot and Oregon oak barrels. So I assume 50% is aged in Pinot and 50% Oregon oak. I don't know the specifics. On the side here it says affectionately referred to as Super Jubel. Jubel 2015 is an imperial take on our festive winter ale. Notes of toasted caramel, raisin, dates, and figs are complemented by spicy and herbal hop aromas. Originally planned as a once in a decade ale, we just couldn't wait another 5 years. Yeah, so they did do it in 2010. They did this in 2015. I'm assuming you'll see it again this year, depending. I mean, I know a lot of the Deschutes line itself has kind of gotten a little bit long in the tooth. Not a lot of people are buying Deschutes stuff. They've kind of retracted some of the distribution, so whether they make this again or not, I don't know, but hopefully they do. Anyway. Before I crack into this, let's get to the comments. We have, we'll have to click here, and then we have, let's see, Everybody saying I'm looking and sounding good. Well, that's fucking good. Ralph chiming in, saying it looks like a guy with a beard and a wall of killer bottles. That would be true. And it says Bill Bot quality is looking good. Off the tent says looking good. Need to find some Hop Butcher. I'll send you some if you have a address. I have a couple extra cans. Obviously, I'll send you some. Yeah. Let me know, Chris, if you want me to. I don't know how I can't. I don't know how I'll get them to you. You know what I mean? Because mailing in a Canada is like super, super hard. But anyway, they must be giants. We talked about that. Fox Farm did a pale ale with HBC 692, nice lemon flavor. So it's a lemon based, I assume. It's kind of cool to kind of see what it'll end up. For those that don't know, when you get those kind of weird numbers, it's basically they didn't give the hop like a fancy name yet. So that's why that's called that. Dutch Beer Geek chiming in saying, hey there. Well, how you doing, buddy? Let's see. And then there's a story by me that has store by me that has 2015s. Okay. Well, that's good, Greg. Let's see how this one cracks. If it's awesome, and you gotta go get some. Joseph Harrington saying, I'm new to your channel, but do you review a lot of American craft beers or mostly imported? That's from Joseph Hardison. It varies, honestly, Joseph. It's all over the place. It depends on. It depends. I would say most of what I do, but if you actually go back in time and look at my earlier reviews, you'll probably see more Euro beer reviews. So it's not like I'm skewing to a specific region. I know there's some people that are like very kind of region specific when they actually do kind of talk about that stuff. Or the beers that they cover, but I don't really do that. So I just kind of cover what I have. A good portion of the beers that I review, like 3/4 of it or more, comes from viewers or comes from breweries. So that's where I get a bulk of my stuff. So that's kind of like luck of the draw when it comes to those kind of things. That does exclude a lot of European breweries, because not a lot of European breweries have representation or give a shit about some dude on YouTube. So they're not sending me stuff. That being said, I do go out and purchase a lot of beers too, so it's not like I'm exclusively to this area. So you usually see a lot of U.S.-based breweries, but you do see a healthy portion of Euro breweries and breweries overseas, especially from my older catalog. You still see them nowadays, but yeah, take that for what it's worth. And thank you very much for loving the channel. Scum Christ. One of my favorite names in the history of mankind. 718. Is that Harrisburg? Anyone know if Hop Butcher is doing East Coast intro? New York, New Jersey. No. Hop Butcher does not do East Coast distro. They pretty much do all self-distribution, actually. They don't have a brewery. You can't go buy their cans at the brewery. They actually brew beer. Last time I checked, I know it was Miskatonic Brewery is where they're doing bulk of their brewing, but then what they do is they just pack it up and drop it off at random bottle shops. And then you got to go pick it up there. So that's pretty much how that works. As far as their distro footprint goes, I'm sure they're eventually going to expand and stuff like that. But if you want to get anything from Hop Butcher, that's how you're going to have to do. Chris says he does have a U.S. mailbox. Send me your address, man. I'll send you a couple beers. I don't give a shit. You need more Dutch beers, Dutch Beer Geek says. I do need more Dutch beers. Someone would just send me some. Now, I'll go out of my way, see if I can find some. I have a decent amount of Dutch beers out there, though. I have a bunch of De Molen. I have some brewery to IJ, stuff like that. But definitely in my older catalog. I've seen a couple people using HBC 692. This is Ralph saying, but I am super wary myself, as those experiments have so little info. They can be fantastic or way off the mark. I mean, that's kind of part and parcel with anything new. So it's kind of like, it's just like anything in life. It could be an amazing hop, but you don't know until you use it. If you wait until everybody tells you it's amazing, then it's going to be hard to get. So it's kind of one of those things. If you're quick and first on board with a hop, not only is it easier to get, but let's say you're buying a decent amount of hops from a hop broker, and then all of a sudden catches fire. Well, chances are that hop broker is going to kind of favor you when it comes to allocation. You know what I mean? And send you first dibs on a lot of hops. I'm pretty sure. I don't know anybody who got in a Sabro train quicker than Hop Butcher. They were pretty much on it like constantly before anybody was. So I'm guessing they kind of were the catalyst for a lot of Hop Butcher or a lot of Sabro orders. So they keep using the crap out of it. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's get to the goddamn beer because that is the most important portion of the show. So let's open this sucker. So this has been sitting in a scorching hot pizzeria, not light protected, for probably 4 years. I'm assuming a little bit over 4 years, maybe 4 years and a couple months, because I'm assuming. Okay, nice hiss on it. So it did have a nice seal on it. Cap does not look fucked up at all. Usually inside of these caps, a lot of times, when you have a decent amount of kind of corrosion and oxidation, you get these kind of weird scarring bubbles that kind of form on there. This cap is clean as a whistle, so that's nice. But you're talking about being in a hot pizzeria. Pizzerias are always scorching hot, especially during the summer months. This was pretty much near the entrance exit door, not light protected, so we're not talking about a premium kind of kept beer here, but we'll see what we have going on. Ooh. I'm going to tell you right now, that is pouring fucking awesome. Look at that, man. Oof. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it has that murk. That murk I want. I mean, they're calling it just an ale. This is very much like just a malt forward. It's barley wine, essentially, what it is. Let's see. Okay, so this is... Well, that's funny. Maybe this is older. No, okay. So this is best after. I just noticed that right now. If you can see there, it says best after the 23rd of January 2016. So I'm assuming this was bottled in January 23rd, 2015. I assume maybe they're waiting a year on this. So yeah, that puts it, just at pretty much 5 years old. 10.4% alcohol by volume. Yeah, so this is essentially barley wine is what it is. And it looks the part. Like I said, there is a... Let's see if I can get this kind of light going for you guys. I mean, if you look at this with some light behind it, I mean, it's not clear. It has this doo-doo water murkiness to it. You cannot get any kind of light through that sucker. So it definitely is showing and proving as far as that rich kind of murkiness that I love so well when it comes to a lot of these kind of older, kind of aged beers. Yeah. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about, son. Okay. So you got a nose on this sucker. I mean, that smells awesome. I mean, it smells like liquid Tootsie Roll had a baby with some dates and figs. And it's cool because they're talking about, oak. Not getting a big oak component on there. If there was a big oak kind of tannin portion of the show, I think it would pretty much be gone by now after 5 years. But you do get that Pinot vibe. You get that little bit of soft white grape kind of vinous-ness to it. So it could be confused, I think, if someone didn't know that was the barrel. I think it could be confused with something going a little bit sideways, something going a little bit sour, because wines tend to kind of err that way. But with knowing that, having that in mind, it's rich, it's decadent, it's caramel. There's no kind of oxidation that I can tell. There's no kind of soy sauce vibes. It's very much datey, figgy, that kind of treacle fucking kind of English syrupy kind of richness that, honestly, is kind of the best thing when it comes to beer, especially aged beer. Yeah, there's a spiciness to it. There's a little blackstrap molasses to it. A little bit of kind of like tea-like, like wet tea kind of vibes to it. So man, it just smells like it doesn't suck. Let's dive in. Cheers. It's spicy. In a good way. Wow. That mouthfeel. The mouthfeel on this is amazing. Like, just knowing how old this beer is. And knowing They have a ton of moving parts in this. You have that winter warmer spiciness. You have the oak barrel. You have that Pinot barrel. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of bits and pieces that can actually take that mouthfeel and take whole portions of the beer, kind of screw it up in 19 different directions. And it's just not there. It's just, I'm amazed about how well this aged. End, period, end of sentence, end of communication. Now, continuing that sentence, I can't believe how well this is aged, sitting on a hot shelf in a pizzeria in Pittsburgh right next to the door, with it opening up every day and people picking it up and looking at it and going, oh, blah, 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 like that for 5 years. That's kind of got me amazed, to be perfectly honest with you. Rich, sultry creaminess. I mean, you can see right now, still a nice head on there. If I give this like a big, hefty kind of swirl, you're probably going to get a little bit more of a head back, not too much, but it's got this nice kind of soft carbonation to it, sultry mouthful, big spicy component. Very much what I expect when it comes to like a molasses, a blackstrap molasses, that kind of spicy richness to it. It's awesome, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's see what else I get. Dates and figs not being overly sweet. Definitely a spiciness. A blackstrap molasses married with a wet kind of English tea, like Earl Grey kind of spiciness kind of going on in there. It's sweet. Like I said, when you talk about blackstrap molasses, obviously we're talking about something sweet, but it's not overly sweet. It's not even close to being overly sweet. This is a really tasty beer. This is like really tasty. And here's the kicker. Is I think I mentioned this at the get-go, is that it was on discount. It was $17, so it's not like we're sitting here talking about, okay, a cheap beer in the grand scheme of things. But I think I'm 90% sure this is like $22 or $23, kind of what it typically sells for, especially back in the day when there wasn't much of this stuff around, and it was kind of, not as prominent barrel-aged stuff like this. So to get it aged, to have it have this kind of body, have it have this kind of mouthfeel, have it have this kind of impact, and just be beautiful at a decent price, I am a happy camper. I mean, old beer is my jam. So we were kind of starting off in a way that, even if it is halfway decent, I'm probably going to be a little bit gaga over it. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit biased when it comes to aged beers, so take that for what it is. But that being said, yet again, I just love this. It's tasty. It's delicious. I am a fan. Let's put it that way. It's awesome. I mean, who was saying, Greg, I think he said, Greg DPW over here was saying that he had the store by me has a few 2015s. I would say go pick them up at a decent price point. If they're like marking them up to $35, probably not buying it. If I see this in a bar and I want to share it with friends and it's $35, I'd crack it. Let's all split a bottle, 3 of us. Let's all drop freaking $8 in a pile. You know what I mean? That's fine. But as far as off the shelf, OG price point of $22, $22 or below would be optimal. And you have to understand, you have to like this kind of beer. It doesn't drink like a barley wine, even though that's what I kind of called it. I said it's kind of like a barley wine. It's very much a winter warmer. It's very much a beefed up version of a winter warmer. You're getting those spices. You're getting that kind of, it's almost like a clovey kind of thing going on. It's not as impactful as clove, because a very impactful clove makes me a little bit nauseous, makes me a little bit gaggy. But when it's done subtly, it's like it can work. So you get that little bit of cloviness, maybe even like a little bit of black pepper kind of vibe from it. That's kind of the blackstrap molasses almost thing coming through with that sweetness. And those in combination, that's the biggest kind of impact of the beer. In the way it kind of worked with those Pinot barrels, to where it gives it a little bit of, I wouldn't say tartness, but a little bit of kind of subtle, maybe, for the lack of a better term, tartness, to kind of balance off a little bit of that sweetness while retaining the body that it has. It's just a fantastic fucking beer. This is fucking delicious. You guys should get this. If you see this on the shelf rolling around and it's a decent price, I'm saying picking it up. If you don't like aged beers and all you like is new school hazies, then this is probably not going to do you proper, but I don't think you can find much at this kind of, age and price point. Does not suck. I love old beer. What can I say? That'd be good. So there you go. Jubel from Deschutes. Let's talk about it. Is this one of my favorite aged beers that I've had in a while? It's in the conversation. I've had ones that have done me better. I'm not going to sit there and say this is king shit of fuck mountain, but it's damn tasty. So it's in the conversation. But I do like my traditional English barley wines that are aged a little bit more than this kind of winter warmer kind of age. So it's more of a stylistic thing than an age thing. Value and availability, it's aged beer, so good luck. Value at $17, I buy this all day. At $22, I buy this. At $25, I might buy it, and at $30 plus, I might skip it. And leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like aged beers, if you like winter warmers, you like blackstrap molasses, you like English desserts, if you like old beer, malty beer, dusty beer, there's a little bit of oxidation, but not too bad. It'll be for you. So there you go. Not ending the video right now. I'm just kind of ending that little beer review for you guys, and I'm going to step back into the Pilsner for a little bit because it's going to take a little bit for me to drink that sucker. So, let's talk real quick. I don't want to take too long on this. I actually want to sit around and relax and enjoy myself today for a little bit, if you will. We'll dive into the comments and we'll do a little bit of talk. Let's see. Joseph back saying, what do you recommend for someone who's trying to get into pale ale beers? I mostly drink lagers, but I recently trying to get into different craft beers. Thanks. My suggestion, if you drink mostly lagers and you're trying to get into craft beer, is don't overthink it and just find a decent mix of six. I'm not quite sure where you're located, but where I am, mix of six places are pretty decent mix of six places. Almost all places around me have like a mix of six, and by mix of six I mean like they have a section where you can just build your own six pack. There's a lot of poopy ones out there. A lot of ones where you go, you have to check dates, make sure shit isn't super old. I had this running joke. I actually kind of shed a tear over the weekend. A side note on that is that for the age thing in the mix of six, I would go to this random grocery store every now and then. I'd go to the mix of six section. I would never buy anything. I would just look at it because there was a can of Modern Times Fortunate Islands, which is their kind of hazy IPA. And it was there for 3 fucking years. In the mix of six section. It was like a 2016 or 17 can. And up until 3 months ago, it was still in the mix of six section. And I'm like, every time I pass it, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't believe this is still here just for fun. It's gone now. This weekend I drove by, it wasn't there. I was like, kind of sad. Because I was like, maybe I'll buy it this time. Just to drink it and see what happened. But anyway, you have to check dates. But go to your mix of six section and just start ripping beers. Honestly, that's my favorite thing to tell people. You know what I mean? If you're trying to expand beers, whether it be just craft beer in general or stylistically, go to a decent mix of six. Like for me, Wegmans tends to be a better kind of purveyor of mix of sixes. Stuff tends to be relatively fresh. They tend to put in a little bit more higher end echelon beer every now and then. Like mostly mix of sixes are, whether let's say they're $13 for a mix of six, though some places are like, we're only putting $10 and below beers in there. Wegmans will actually take like their mix of sixes by me are $12.99. I've seen beers that are $15, $16 a six pack. Or sometimes $15, $16 a four pack, and sometimes they'll pepper in some of those in the mix of sixer. So, and just go in there and just start ripping beers, and see what you like, and keep track. You can use Untappd, you can use an Excel sheet like I've done, or just write them down and just keep track of what you dig. Do that for a while, do that for months, and see what you like, and just kind of hone in on what you dig. And then if there is like a specific thing, whether it be a pale ale, whether it be an IPA, whether it be whatever, if there's something that really piques your interest, run with it. Don't try to force yourself into a category just to do it. Just be like, oh, this is a cool beer du jour right now. I kind of really want to get into it. I wouldn't do that. I would more specifically kind of rip beers and just see what see where the fucking current takes you. What you like, because I really do dig a lot of beers nowadays that I wouldn't have dug 20 years ago when I got into beer. So, in the journey through beer, from drinking beer, having beers, doing those kind of things, has kind of shaped what I enjoy. And if I rushed out and tried to like everything I could at the get, it was impossible when I got into beer because it wasn't that big. But you condense a good portion, a lifetime of beer enjoyment into a short period of time. It's kind of speed reading a book. You can do it. You get what you want out of it, but there's something about the journey that is just as good as the end destination, I guess, is what I'm saying. So yeah, I would just rip mixes. Now, if you want a specific answer to your question, you like lagers, you want to get into pale ale beers, well, I would go with not superly hop stuff, traditional pale ales, maybe a Belgian pale ale, Allagash pale ales will work for you. They might be a little bit more hoppy, but they have a more yeast forward kind of present, maybe a farmhouse pale ale, those kind of things. Stick with stuff that's not super Americanized, over the top, like hoppy. Or if you're not used to super hoppy beers, you could start drinking a lot of kind of traditional Pilsner or kind of new school Pilsner, so you get that kind of lager vibe, but you do get a more aggressive kind of hopping and kind of let yourself get acclimated to the more intensely hopped kind of beers. And once you get that, then you can start trickling out into other styles and stuff like that. That would be my suggestion. What else do we have? News-wise. So this ABV thing won't fucking go away with that started with the 450 North. For those that don't actually know what I'm talking about, basically, everybody's doing a butt ton of these fruited sours nowadays. 450 North was kind of the one that's not started it, but the one that got picked on first. When it comes to these kind of fruited sours, basically the grand scheme of things, someone tested, took a bunch of these kind of fruited sour kind of things, fruit smoothie things, sent them out to get tested, and their ABVs are essentially half. Like the brewery's saying they're 11 and they're 5 and they're 8, but they're 4. That came to no shock to, I don't think, many people. If you got shocked by it, that's kind of fucking weird. I even said multiple times in reviews, I'm like, this is not the ABV it is, but whatever, it's still fucking tasty. I don't give a shit. But a lot of people got in their panties in a bunch, and 450 North took the brunt of that first assault. So it was like basically okay, and then they tested a bunch of other beers and they weren't fucking in line. Well, comes a couple weeks ago, probably about a week or so ago, someone sent in a bunch of different fruit based smoothie beers to a testing group. And some came back actually pretty much on point. Imprint Brewing out of, I forget where they're at, Horsham? Anyway, they're about 20, 30 minutes north of Philly. Mortalis Brewing, I've covered a bunch of their beers on my channel. Their actual beers were either on point or actually just this, barely below. So they were calling a beer, like, say, 6.5, and it was actually 7. Or they're calling a beer, 5, and it was 6. Just actually they were kind of on the lower side. Still a little bit off, but that kind of variance of 1 to 1.2% or 1.5, it is what it is, especially when you're doing those kind of fruit smoothie beers. But a lot of the kind of hyped ones from the East Coast, which would be the Answer, was a big one. I believe there was Burley Oak, maybe Vale. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry for those guys, but I'm pretty sure those are the other ones in the next round of testing that came up. They were kind of the same thing. They were in lower in ABV. Again, I don't give a shit. I knew they were lower in ABV. You just taste it when you drink the beer. But, it is what it is. It was kind of coming to a head. Even before the 450 North stuff dropped, I kind of said it's pretty much rampant throughout the whole beer industry. So I'm sure a bunch of them are going to be kind of changing what they do when it comes to their kind of reporting and how they do things. But, yeah. The Answer was kind of the kind of the worst one of the group, in that they kind of like all this shit came down, and all the other breweries are like, well, these are old cans, and we're changed our policy, and we're trying to, fix what we did wrong. The answer didn't say anything. They're just like ignored it until like a week went by, and they said something that didn't even really address the issue anyway. It was just more like, hey, beer is art, and we're sorry our ABVs are off, but we'll work on it. But anyway, it's art, so it is what it is. So, man, whatever. I mean, that's the shit people want to talk about. I don't fucking... Actually, I'd be more worried... not worried. I'd be more interested in seeing a lot of people actually do this with double IPAs or triple IPAs, because I know for a motherfucking fact that a lot of these double, triple IPAs are not even close to the ABV that they say they are, especially when they're overly sweet. Like, the amount of fucking brewer sugar you gotta put in these motherfuckers to get that sweet. And they don't drink like the ABV, like they say they're 11%, but they drink like 7, and they're super sweet. They just didn't finish, and they're probably 7%. So somebody please do that shit with these hazies, because I think that needs more addressing than the other ones. The other ones are actually good, but these kind of over-the-top, under-attenuated, super sugar-bound double IPAs, yeah, fuck that noise. Let's jump back into the comments real quick, just for fun. Joseph saying, he's like, what would you recommend? We went through that. Chris off the tent says, it sounds incredible about the Jubel. It was. Joseph saying, thanks. Chris Conchado says, happy Sunday, big guy. Happy Sunday to you, whatever size you may be. And Tribute Caribe Music says, Jersey stand up. What? Say what, Jersey? It says, cheers. And then Ralph saying the shitty part about that is, while I don't think any brewery should be shit on, it's relatively easy to get your numbers relatively accurate. Well, that's the point, is that, listen, it's fucking wild, wild west out there still when it comes to beer. I mean, I know breweries that totally just don't even fucking deal with TTB anymore. For those that don't know, like, there's a governing body in the government called the TTB, and they basically kind of police beer, more specifically kind of beer labels, like, okay, you can't have, overt sexuality or abuse or children or all that shit, and they approve the names of the beer, and then they approve, all the shit on the label and stuff like that. And that's a process. It takes a while for that shit to get done, and I know for a fact that people just stop eating. They're like, fuck it, I'm not doing it. Because what they do in today's beer world, they flip these beers so often. So they make one beer, they put a label on it, they send it out, and they won't make it again. It's the same beer you get. And next week you're getting the same shit, just different label, just so you know. Most times they're not. Subtle tweaks, but it's like, it's like a car. This one has a sunroof, this one doesn't. Anyway. So they're just like, fuck it. And like, I'll just send it out there. What are they going to do? And be like, you can't make that beer anymore. And be like, okay, cool. I'm not making it anymore. I don't give a shit anyway. Taking into account some breweries that just straight up rip off IP like it's going out of fucking style. I'm looking at you, The Answer. I'm looking at you, fucking Ellipsis Brewing. Like, it's like literally, there's some people that do these kind of like weird, like subtle kind of homages to popular culture. Then you basically have like Ellipsis Brewing being like, yeah, we're just putting the cover of fucking Legend of Zelda fucking search for A Link to the Past in the front of the fucking label. We're going to put Metroid. We're going to put fucking Super Mario. Like, no, they're not even like changing anything. They're just like straight just fucking copy and pasting fucking box art and putting it on a fucking label and putting it on a fucking glass. That shit is crazy. Like, that's the stuff that's like, not just like malicious, but it's just kind of filthy. But breweries do that shit because they do it and they bang it out real quick, and then they're like, they get a C&D, they get a cease and desist, and be like, okay, all the shit's sold, we're not going to do it again anyway, so what do you want them to do? You want them to stop making it? Because we're not making it anymore. So it's kind of one of those things. There's a lot of Wild West going on out there when it comes to like labels and ABVs and all that shit. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's one of the more reasons why you want to drink fucking good beer from people. They make good beer. The beer's not good, and the beer's kind of sideways, or it's a new brewery, and they're just kind of picking at a niche just to be cool. I don't know. It is what it is. So second up, Guns and beer. Guns and motherfucking beer. So, when I did my last show, it was 2 weeks ago or so, my buddy Keith, when we did 120 Dogfish Head 120 show, we kind of touched on the other half. There was a dude that kind of brandished a gun at a bunch of line waiters at Other Half Brewing. You know, a dude said, fucking shoot you, put a gun in your mouth, blah, 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 all that tough guy bullshit that tends to travel around with a select few from the gun community. It is what it fucking is. It's fucking stupid. I mean, you can't carry a fucking gun in New York City to begin with, so I don't know what the fuck dude was doing. Exercising his Second Amendment, probably, but, anyway. It is what it is. No one got hurt. Dude was an asshole. I'm sure this dude got off with nothing, because he was just visiting from out of town and he doesn't live in New York. It is what it is. Last week, there's a shooting at Miller Coors. Last week, middle of this week, there was a shooting at Miller Coors. And I think I want to say 6 people died. I could be wrong on that number, so take that for what it's worth. And I see, there's always kind of 2 different ends of the spectrum. Well, not even 2. Multiple ends of the spectrum when it comes to these things happening. It's, people shit posting memes about it, being like, Other Half next level. It is what it is. I actually don't have a problem with that shit, whatever. If I was one of the people who had a family member killed, I'd fucking want to kill the person who posted those memes. But, shit posting is a way of life nowadays. A lot of people want to associate it with beer. A lot of people want to do a lot of different things. They're markedly different situations. The Other Half thing was a drunk dude with an Airbnb who just happened to be staying across the street from a brewery who has very popular releases and wanted to be a tough guy. That's exactly what happened. This sounds like, preliminary reports sound like, again, take that for what it's worth. Who knows what the actual truth is until it comes out, and even then you don't know. Sounds like a disgruntled employee who had to deal with a lot of racism, and came back and shot the place. So I don't think they have much in similar other than a firearm. I think it's more just the Miller Coors shooting has more to do with it has more to do with gun violence and mental health than it does to have with beer. But that's kind of makes sense when it comes to that stuff. But it happened. I think the racism part of it probably is a little bit of a twist, at least from what was been reported. Again, take that for what it's worth, if that's the truth or not. But that's, for me, the biggest takeaway from it is just people being bullied, because it's all racism is, and sexism and ageism, or whatever you want to call it. Actually, I'm on board with ageism, at least when it comes to people driving cars. If you're over a certain age, you shouldn't drive cars. There I am. I'm a bigot. What can I say? Anyway, two totally separate things. It just frustrated me because there was a lot of people trying to connect the dots as it being this happened here, that happened there, blah blah blah. It's a bunch of malarkey, I say. And I think that's pretty much it news-wise. What else actually happened? Anything else fucking happen? Ooh, you know what I want to talk about? It has nothing to do with beer. So, I'm going to have to get up for this one. You guys are going to have to excuse me. I'll be right back. Give me like 2 seconds, okay? We'll come back and sit down and talk a little bit of footy. For fun. Just for fun. Just for funskies. There we go. Okay, get a little comfy here. Kind of cinch this one around. Put that there. There we go. Okay. Now I'm feeling better. Very warm. Very sultry. For those that don't know, there are 2 undefeated teams in the history of major team sports. One is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. They're the only team to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. The Patriots went undefeated in the regular season, but they lost the Super Bowl. It is what it is. I mean, the Patriots cheat. So, even the fact that they went undefeated doesn't mean much because they're probably cheating anyway. So there really is no contender for that line. I mean, really, the closest thing you would come to for the Dolphins being undefeated would be the Chicago Bears. Again, we don't count the Patriots because of their cheating ways. There's one other team that is, excuse me, that is part. Let me get a beer. So I don't want to drink the Jubel Ale. What do we got here? Oh, this is a good one. There we go. Ooh, I made a little makeshift kind of cooler down here too, so I got a nice kind of nice temperature on this beer too. There's a coffee pale ale from Backwards Flag Brewing. It's fucking delicious. Like, if a coffee pale ale is done right, shut the fuck up. I mean, labels kind of, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't know. What's that fucking annoying thing? No Fear? It kind of reminds me of that. But they're ex-military people, so I get that. But yeah, that nice soft. Exactly what I would imagine a coffee pale ale look like. Ooh, it's cold in a good way. Anyway, so there is in soccer. There's a team called Arsenal. They are the only undefeated team when it comes to their main season. For those that don't know, in the world of soccer, more specifically European leagues, there is Killer Dude 2000 saying chug, chug, chug it. I have to know whoever the fuck this guy is. It's got to be... There you go. My comments are fucked now because this guy's going to say chug it the whole time. It's got to be George or somebody else just saying chug. Anyway, Arsenal... in their 03-04 season, they went undefeated in the English Premier League. There's win, lose, or tie. They basically won or tied. They never lost. And they were called the Invincibles, and it was like crazy because it's way harder to do that than an NFL season. Like, at least I think, because soccer games tend to be a little bit more kind of closer. You're talking 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 1-0, this stuff like that. NFL games, there's a much shorter season. You're talking with the Super Bowl, 19 games back when the Dolphins won, it's you're talking about with the English Premier League, 30 and change. What is it, 36 games? I could be off on that one. So there's much more larger room for error, and they went the whole English Premier League season without losing. Now they lost in a couple other tournaments during the soccer season, and in England and Europe you play like 7 different fucking tournaments the whole year. There's only like 2 or 3 that really matter, but the main league is the one you're really concerned about. What if not Champions League? That's a whole other thing. But they ended up going undefeated, and no one's really come close until this fucking year. Until this motherfucking year, there is a team called Liverpool. I actually don't hate Liverpool. I don't mind it. I have a couple friends who are big Liverpool fans, so I'll bust their chops. But beyond that, Liverpool was probably by far and away the most dominant team I've seen in quite some fucking time. Like, they did not lose. They didn't lose at all. Like, they didn't even come close to like really looking like they're losing. Even when they were like barely won, they were kind of like, okay, they should have won. And it was almost because there's only like 12 games left in the season, and they were undefeated. So you're talking about the bulk of the year. The season starts in August. And, man, I was like, that's it. Fucking Arsenal. Arsenal's fucking done. They're going to lose their undefeated crown, the golden fucking trophy. They're going to lose that shit. Lo and behold, lowly little Watford, this fucking team, which is like, I'm not sure if you guys know about English Premier League or most soccer leagues in Europe. Basically, they have the best kind of system when it comes to teams, because basically, to boil it down in the most simplified form, there's a set number of teams, and the bottom 3 teams at the end of the year go down to a lower level, and then those lower level, next level teams, the top 3 teams come up. So for those Americans out there, imagine Major League Baseball. Imagine the three shittiest teams in Major League Baseball had to play in AAA next year, and the three best AAA teams had to got to go up into Major League Baseball next year, and that happens every year. So, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, some teams kind of pop back and forth on purpose because you get this what's called a balloon payment when you go back and forth. Some people's kind of business-wise want to lose and come back up, want to lose, come back up. For the most part, the worst thing you possibly do is get relegated. That's what they call it, relegation. Watford is like fucking fourth. So out of the bottom three, they're number 4. They were like fucking, they're going to be relegated. So you're not only talking about one of the worst teams in the Premier League this season, they were actually playing on the road. They were playing in Liverpool. They were playing at Anfield, and it's like, that's it. They're like, okay, shitty team on the road at Liverpool, not gonna fucking happen. Motherfuckers beat Liverpool 3-0, son. 3-0. Oh my god. Makes me so fucking happy. I know it sucks because Arsenal sucks this year. But man, makes me so happy. It's that thing. It's your team has that thing, and you just want them to keep doing their thing. And I just want them to do the thing. I kind of want to chug this now because of Killer Dude 2000, but I'm not going to. I just can't chug beer, man. I just can't do it. I'm in a chug group, like one of the biggest chug groups in all the fucking internet on Facebook. I don't chug beers, but when I was out in Buffalo going to the Shelton Brothers Fest, when I was with Joe from the Beer Patrol was there and a couple people were there, I bumped into this one dude who was mad cool, Kenny, and he was like, oh man, he's like, you gotta chug a beer with me. He's like, you gotta chug a beer with me. He's like, it'd be so cool if you chug a beer with me. And so I was like, okay man, I'll chug a beer with you. And then I'm like, turn around to grab something. I turn around and he's got a phone live streaming like this chug. I'm like, oh, I'm fucking chugging on live on the internet. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I did a decent job, actually. I was kind of proud of myself. And then immediately I'm allowed to be in this crazy chug group because you have to chug a beer to get in a group or something like that. So that's like, that in like 2 other times I've chugged the beer in the past like 15 years. Let's put it that way. So I kind of fucking suck at it. Anyway, yeah. Back to the comments. Other than Killer Dude telling me to chug stuff, we have Sexton Bruin chiming in saying, cheers, Matt and viewers. Everybody else is happiness through the demise of others. What is that? Shandaford? I can't say it, but you know what I'm talking about. Love that shit. We have Window Beer Review with Thomas. Or Tomas. Depending on how you want to say it. He says, hi from Ireland. I loved saying Ireland like I'm Jamaican. Ireland, man. Cheers, man. Yeah. Love Ireland. Never been there. Yeah. Listen to a podcast from there all the time. Other than that, yeah. And then we have Ralph chiming in saying, we also double check everything on White Labs QC Day. We send out a bunch of our beers. As you should. I mean, Barrel Monks, where Ralph works. Right? So for those that don't know, Ralph is OG status, one of the king shit of fuck mountains when it comes to sending me beer. The dude was sending me beer like it was like shock and awe. It was like an assault of epic proportions. Because he loves beer. The dude is just a fucking beer maniac. And what do beer maniacs do? What do smart beer maniacs do? They get a job in the industry. And Ralph is working at Barrel Monks Brewing in Florida, so if you're ever in Florida, you like yeast forward beers. They do hazies, they do other stuff, but they're known for their Belgian beers. Go check them out, obviously. I mean, their beers are fucking delicious that they do down there, so yeah, go check them out. What else we got here? I got a little sniffles going on right now. We have Chris Conchado saying, I had a Dogfish Head Oak Aged Vanilla Worldwide Stout last night. Big fan. What's your thoughts on the beer? Did I review it? I don't know if I reviewed that or not. I've had it. I thought I reviewed it, but I might not have. I like the base better, to be perfectly honest with you. Just something about the base beer just does it for me. You said it was the vanilla worldwide style. Okay. So they add oak aging to it, and vanilla. Yeah, I guess I didn't. Oh no, I did review it. go check it out, man. It is review 1094. I reviewed this. Most of the comments are a year ago, so I assume it's right about a year ago they reviewed it, and I thought it was okay. Worldwide for me is like OG fucking awesome. Like, I love Worldwide. Worldwide to me, especially with some time on it, which is almost like, it's for me, it's kind of hard to find not nowadays, but I was gonna say it's kind of hard to find a fresh Worldwide. But you give me a Worldwide with like 5 years on it, it's one of the tastiest barrel-aged beers I've ever had. It's not fucking barrel-aged, but it tastes like it's barrel-aged. It rings that way. So the vanilla and the oak really didn't do much for me, but I'm curious to see how one of those tastes aged. Now, I believe that when I did this, so I did that review about a year ago, I think that was like its first release. I'd like to see it with some time on it. More moving parts, more chance for shit to get fucked up. So I'm not going to say it's going to be a better beer with time or be better than the base with time, but it'd be interesting to see how it sits. Because let's put it this way. I didn't think it was better than the base, but I don't remember the last time I had a fresh base. So having a fresh versus my memory of an older base might have skewed my kind of thoughts on that a little bit. So it's not a bad beer by any stretch of imagination, but it's a danger cap by Dogfish Head. You know what I mean? Like, that's some serious heat they're throwing down on that sucker. So yeah, let's see what we got going on. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this thing. I like Streamlabs because it just works a little different, and I think it works a little bit better for me. I'll have to see. I have to go back and rewatch this. The main part about this is, so the reason why I did this via OBS and via, for those that don't know, OBS is just like a open source streaming program that you could use to kind of stream YouTube Live. You really can't stream YouTube Live like you used to. You can't like log in and click go. You can via mobile phone. I don't think you can do that anymore on the desktop. I think you have to use a secondary program regardless. Streamlabs is kind of ghetto to me. It feels like a little GeoCities-like. And I think the quality suffers. And I'm a big quality snob. Like, I've been looking over the past month. I've been looking for a new camera. I have the Logitech. What is this? The Logitech C920 or whatever. The base one. And I've been trying to look and to see how to get a better quality video out there, because that's my gig. I have a 4K 110-inch projector. I like everything to be clear, so I'm kind of dabbling on that, trying to find a new webcam maybe and stuff like that, trying to figure out if I should buy something, because I do these once a month. It's not really warranted a huge kind of bump when it comes to videos, but I like gadgets. It is what it is. So I figured I'd do this, wait for it to process, and then watch it again and see if maybe there's a decent kind of quality difference. Now, there's a huge lag in what I'm saying when I'm watching these videos, but I think there is. See, here it actually tells me I'm only streaming in 320p, which kind of sucks, to be honest with you, because that sucks. Now, I assume maybe once I move on, once it actually processes, it'll be in a higher quality, but my John is quality, so that's the whole reason I'm doing it. Anyway, let's see if there's anything noteworthy to talk about after this, and then we will kind of call this quits. There's something else I can't think of. There's dumb shit like the coronavirus and Corona. I'm not going to talk about that stuff, because that's just, if you have to talk about that shit, I think you're just an idiot, you know, because, you know, there's something else that I wanted to talk about. I can't really think about it. There was a whole kind of Hills Pills, kind of Hills Brewing Company, whatever bullshit that I talked about last one. That's dumb as fuck. It's a bunch of right-wing, alt-right-wing people going ape shit, which I could give a fuck about. Yeah. Oh, here's a big one. We should actually talk about this. See what you guys think about it. Let me know. BeerAdvocate and Untappd. Kind of, they would say they merged. They didn't. Untappd purchased BeerAdvocate outright. BeerAdvocate owns, or Untappd owns BeerAdvocate. It's kind of like the Sam Adams Dogfish merger. No, Sam Adams owns Dogfish. There's no merger here. There's no equal parts. This I find super fucking interesting, actually. Not from a beer standpoint, from a logistics, from a business standpoint. Not sure what they're going to do here. You know, like, BeerAdvocate, to me, I've never been a rate beer guy. I think rate beer is kind of herky-jerky, kind of weird, kind of almost like a BJCP vibe kind of place, which isn't my bag. Never really fucked with it. BeerAdvocate, not that I used it a ton, but I'd log in every now and then, skim the forums more to see if anybody mentioned fucking mass beer reviews, which happens every now and then. But look at shit. And every now and then, like, you know, look up a beer, try to get information on it. It'd be one of the places I go to. That tended to be supplanted by Untappd. Not necessarily by me, but by most people. Untappd is semi-open source to where you can add pretty much what information you want about a beer. So I don't kind of take it as gospel. Seems like BeerAdvocate's a little bit more on top of that stuff, but there's no secret that Untappd is way more popular than BeerAdvocate. Like, I know people that drink Miller Lite that use Untappd, you know what I mean? Like, people that drink Miller Lite don't go to fucking BeerAdvocate, let's put it that way. So it's a much, much more popular platform. And it's mobile oriented. Like, even BeerAdvocate tried to create a mobile presence with their app. It never got out of like alpha, not even beta. And it's always been kind of very difficult to kind of navigate the beer in a mobile sense. Whereas Untappd is pretty much like, we're mobiles. That's what we do. Even if you go to their website via a desktop browser, you're going to get kind of the mobile version of it, and yeah, they don't really mess with stuff. They're kind of the Instagram version of that, which is kind of what they are. So they're two different mentalities. Both serve a very kind of meaningful purpose. I think there's a lot more quality information and quality conversation to be had inside of BeerAdvocate. I think Untappd is just, you know, hello, pictures, likes, new school social media, not pooping on that, but there's less substance to it. With both of them kind of joining forces, or both of them becoming one, it would probably be a better way to put it. I'm kind of interested to see what happens, more specifically, the integration between both. First kind of yips about the platforms from the Alstrom brothers and from BeerAdvocate and everybody else is they're going to be kind of separate entities. They're going to exist in a separate platform. I could see it. I could see it happening because when companies like Untappd or any company buys a mobile entity like BeerAdvocate or anybody, they're not looking to make it better. They're looking for your information. They want your data. Data is money. That's why all these people buy all these things. They're not necessarily going, oh, people go to BeerAdvocate. I love that people go there. Let me go there and see what other people are saying. Sure, traffic is part of it, but it's the data they can collect. The user data, when you sign that agreement saying, I want to use this website, I want to use this app, and they say, okay, for streamlining and informational purposes, we may collect subtle data from here and there about your age and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. That's what they're buying. They're not buying anything but that. It's like buying a plot of land with a crazy house on it. You're like, oh man, that house is crazy. You'd be like, yeah, I'm going to fucking tear that shit down. I just want the land. It's kind of like that. So it'd be interesting to see if they do anything. I'd like to see them kind of merge the two in some form or fashion. Because, you know, for as much as I don't use Untappd, I know a lot of people do, so I'm not going to sit here and poop on it. People love that shit. I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, well, it's dumb. A lot of people like it. Listen, a lot of people go to Olive Garden, and that place is dumb. So what do I know? But I know a lot of people that actually exist in BeerAdvocate. Go there and spend time in the forums and like to talk and chat and do all those kind of things. So it's a weird kind of merging of two different worlds that kind of makes sense to be under one umbrella. But I don't know if they'll do that. So I thought that was probably the most interesting thing to happen as of late. I think there was a brewery bought out too, wasn't there? I think a brewery got bought out too. Maybe it was somebody not of consequence or something like that. Yeah, I forget what it was, but I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm done, donezo, ready for a little bit of relaxing and gaming and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the Deschutes review as much as I did. Hopefully you enjoyed the Hop Butcher unboxing. Hopefully this kind of worked and everybody can see everything and everything sounded relatively decent. We'll be back. Again, I'm still looking for a beer style. Should probably get on that shit, but I'm looking for a beer style to do for the next massive online bottle share. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I've kind of tossed a couple different ideas around, but in the comments, not live chat, but in the comments, let me know what's what. Or you can email me, massivebeers@gmail.com, and get at me on any social media platform, and let me know what beers you guys want to see for the next online bottle share. Before the next online bottle share, I'm guessing I will probably do a live video with Keith. We have that. I talked about it in the 120 thing. We have a 3-bottle set from Hent Anchor. Their Cuvée de Kaiser Blau 2000, 2006, 2017, maybe 2016. Somewhere right around there. Or is it 2000, 2009? Anyway, 3 age bottle vertical. We're going to do that live on the air. That'll probably come soon. Hopefully soon, next week or two. We're going to do one of those. So it's going to be a good time. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. So let me know what kind of beers you guys want to see for the next online bottle share. And let me know what you guys are into kind of beer-wise. Let me know about the reviews. Let me know about what you think about this beer. Let me know about what you think about the things we talked about. Let me know about everything. So there you go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the talk. And hopefully see you next time. Yeah.